Edgar, you did this pose, brother. Dude, I feel so bad because he was like, I can't reach other people in your crew, but I can reach you, so I want to work with you. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then I went and started playing Dune with all of them. I had Gigi send Edgar a text with a little email symbol, which we when we're like RPing that we're emailing each other like via Discord, we put the little email symbol. So I said like, you have gotten a message from Arrakis in all caps, and I sent him a thing. Ask him to check his texts whenever he's on. I sent one over just to be like, I'm doing great, but I'm in the desert. Yeah. Got you been enjoying Dune? I love it. I love it a lot. I don't know if I should stream it on main. Like, do people want to see the grind? Maybe I should. I think me hanging in the VC with the boys doesn't feel like main channel content, but maybe it's okay. I don't know. They be saying some shit. And like, I'm fine with it, but like I feel like you guys are gonna crash out. Yeah, you're gonna hear, boy, I'm the king, boy. You better get me that spice, boy. And the thing is, like, the way I grew up, I'm fully understanding that we're all just joking. Like, when someone sounds like they're getting actual toxic, I know they're just, it's a bit. Okay? It's a bit. But I feel like some viewers don't get that, because I see people in some chats hearing someone say something and they're like, why are you taking that? And I'm like, because we all know we're friends. We're all just saying shit. Like, it's just like, we're literally just saying shit and it all means nothing, right? Like, but I think some people like struggle with that. I don't know. So that's why I was like, I'll just do it on all. But maybe it's fine. Maybe I'll put text on the screen that says like, if someone seems like they're mean, they're doing a bit, don't complain, you know, or something. I don't know. We Gecko Science Day members and scammers were immune to insanity. No, I think those are the most, okay, I say this with love, I think those are the most like sensitive communities to this kind of shit. It's literally the opposite. Like, I mean that with love. It's something that I've always struggled with, not in a bad way, but just a lot of my humor, the way I like want to communicate with friends sometimes, I can't do in front of certain communities because they like can't deal with it. They're just different people, you know? That's not a bad thing, it's just different, right? So some of the way I would do bits with Zen, where I'd like seem like I was mad and I'd call her a fucking idiot, I'd start being toxic, there would be people in certain communities that would like not get that. They would think I was actually in any way mad. And they would think that other people would have a hard time like hearing it or something. And I was like, everyone knows it's a bit. And I wasn't even being that bad. I really was not. I felt like it was very, very light. But I learned very quickly like which communities I can be certain ways in and which other ones I have to code switch a little bit and like rein it in. And it's not like I have to not be myself. Like, I can still make the same jokes. I just have to really do a shorter leash, you know? But yeah, but with them, it's full, all bets are off. Anyone says anything, people are being fully toxic in the VC the whole time. Everyone's telling each other they're fucking useless. If they're not grinding, what are they doing? You're getting G kicked, you know? Like, and it's just everyone's a bitch boy, you know, or whatever. And yeah, I don't know. I just think about it and I'm like, some people would have a hard time listening to it because they have a hard time piecing out what's reality and what's just a bit. But we get into like a toxic flow state, okay? So we're not even like laughing that much at each other anymore. We're just saying shit and we're entertained, but because you can't like see our faces smiling, everyone thinks we're like crying or something. I don't know. I don't know what the thought process is, but you know, it makes me think about like what I stream on main and what I don't. But I could, I was thinking of later, maybe I get on Dune and I just do some of the questing that I need to get done. There's some questing I gotta do to get some skills and stuff and level my character up so she can actually make certain things. There are quests. Yeah, there's a bunch of story related stuff that's actually really good. Really, really, really good. I've been enjoying the game. I just think the melee PvP is dog. Is dog. It's bad. Really bad. But all of the other stuff is really fun, and we had some. I finally got to experience like what some of the end game combat is like, and it's more dogfighting with your ships and all these things, and that shit when like raiding each other is so fun. That shit was so fun. I'm like craving that. So the grind in between to build up so you have the stuff you need to then go and fight each other in the deep desert, that stuff, I am living for that. I genuinely love that. So I feel like the game has a lot of potential to do well. Did you make a new character? Are you still joining as visitor? Still joining as visitor. I have not been able to once find the server in a state where it's, you know, not locked. So that part's a little annoying because I can't build shit if I needed to, but that's whatever. Will there be a list of what games are played today in and out of work? If someone wants to do that, they can do that. I'm not doing that. I'm going to stream. I'm going to pick games out of my demo list at random, and we're going to do them. If someone wants to keep track of what was played, and you want to be kind and put that in the Discord, absolutely go ahead. For other people, that would be really appreciated. But I'm just stating it out loud right now. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that, so. And I don't want a mod to feel like they have to. It's just if any viewers are like, yep, let me keep a list, that would be great. Please do. Or you can click through the VOD and I'll do the thing I usually do. I'm not sure if I'll change categories to each game. I think what I might do is put us in games and demos. And then I'll just put the name of the game on the screen as text. So you should be able to click through the VOD and see directly on the screen what it is. So if no one makes a list, it should be pretty easy to find it out. I'm gonna do it like that. So you really met on the game on Dune until I saw you guys go into the deep desert. That shit was so good. Right? That's why I was giving it a real try, because with Dune, like, there was a lot promised for that, like, deep desert raiding stuff. And I was like, I think I just gotta get through it to that point and then I'll understand. And it was so chaotic. It's gonna be crazy. We're gonna go in when we're down bad and we know we're gonna lose because we're all fine with losing. We're just gonna send it, man. Yeah, and they found Shai-Hulud. I saw the clip. Oh my god. Did you guys see the clip of Capped? Hold on, let me find it. There was a clip that Capped posted on Twitter. Oh my god, I was crying. Let me show it to you guys. I love this dude. I'm sad he and I have never really, like, done that much with each other in RP. I gotta bother him. Warning, the dude's a screamer. Okay, he's a screamer. Can I do it on the screen? Maybe I can't. Let's do it on the screen. Let's go here. I'll go right here. This clip had me dying. I've been enjoying Dune so much. Okay, hold on. Pausing BGM. Okay, are you ready? This is Capped. This is first worm. Oh. I love Caps. What do we do? And the thing is, the worm. The thing is, if you die to the worm, you lose everything. So if you die out in the desert, you keep the stuff that's like on your toolbar, and the stuff that's in your backpack will fall out, you know, potentially you lose some of it. But if you are if you die to the worm, everything is gone. So it's just like oh, that was Medi who flew down too. That was Medi. Oh no. Oh man, no, that wasn't Shai-Hulud. Wait, there's also a Shai-Hulud clip. I gotta find it. There was a Shai-Hulud clip. So when you go to the deep desert, you actually can find him. Let me see if I can grab the clip. It's been crazy. The way all this stuff is so cinematic has been good. Oh, I see it when we posted it. Yeah, thanks, Seeds. I saw it. I saw that shit. Okay. You want to see how big Shai-Hulud is in this game? I mean, we know Shai-Hulud's supposed to be like the big worm. Look at this. Let me move myself out of the way. Sorry, I'm like huge on the screen. There we go. Ready?
Need access from one of you boys ASAP. MASIN.
So you like do a thing. You collect the spice.
I guess we're dead.
What the hell is that?
I think we're dead, brother.
This might be the Shai-Hulud. This might be the Shai-Hulud.
Yeah, I'm
This might be the Shai-Hulud.
All the spice is gone, by the way. All the spice is gone, by the way.
All the spice is gone. My
Look at
screen's
this.
Frozen.
It's the biggest room of our lives right now. I'm not even
Oh my
trolling.
god.
Who's
brother,
Mike
everything's
peeking?
shaking.
Oh my god!
Oh my fucking god.
You ready?
Oh my fucking god.
going on?
See how all the dust starts coming up? Look at this! Look at this! Look at it!
Oh my god.
See the teeth?
Oh my god.
They were, and you saw how big that crater was when they were in it.
Fucking god. Brother, everything just disappeared. It just. Oh my.
Mason, everything just disappeared.
Scariest shit ever.
So that's a
Oh
big
my
ass
god.
Dude, that thing's mouth when you see the teeth, I'm like, oh, everything just disappeared. Oh, but Dune's been so fun. It's been so fun. We're gonna play more. They apparently G-kicked Warlock. I'm sure he'll be back. I'm sure he'll be back. We got Fahrenheit in. We got Captain. So we got a lot of good friends in there. He's back. Okay, yeah. It was funny because he got added in the server, and immediately it was like, at Warlock, you're G-kicked. Shit was funny. Sad with it. That's a big ass worm, dude. We're sitting in this call, and you know everyone's grinding for hours and hours and hours. Some of them a lot more than me because all their streaming is this, and everyone's so cooked. And Sab just he truly, I'm sure if you watch him you already know, he just turns into an NPC. Like brother has like Oblivion NPC voice lines as everything he says, and it's insane. I've never heard someone become an NPC in real time except for him, the way he does it, and it's so consistent. He says shit that I'm like, what are you saying? But the other day, 2 days ago, we were playing, and he was trying to say words, but like the words weren't coming out. He just made sounds, and that was when I just lost it. I don't think I've ever like it was the hardest I've laughed in like a month. Dude just went, he just made so many noises, and I was like, what are you saying? I was crying because dude was just like 18 hours in, cooked NPC lines, and then couldn't even say words. I was like, he needs to go to bed. He needs a nap. I've been dying, man. You brought it up, and then they clown on him for like 10 minutes. Well, that's the thing. He made those sounds, and I was trying hard to like not laugh on the mic. So I'm just like, you know, when you like silent laugh to yourself, I'm like holding it in, but then I couldn't do it anymore. I was like, Sab, what did you say? What was that? But no one said anything. Everyone was being like, everyone was trying to not call attention to it. They were just like, oh, Sab moment. But it was like the worst malfunction I had ever seen. Yeah, that's the thing. He was also food poisoned. That like morning, he threw up so much. He shat his brains out. he was so sick, brain cooked. Then he couldn't eat much. He had a little bit of soup and then just started grinding on an MMO for 14 hours. So he was just, he couldn't even speak anymore. We were like, bro, just go to bed. Oh, it was crazy. That's literally what we said. Yeah, go worm. That was like literally what he said. Yeah, he's puking his PC. I know. I was, dude. It's been so cooked. Everyone's got a cooked MMO brain because they've been grinding for so many hours, and then you've got Sap saying NPC lines and literally throwing up in a bag while grinding. You've got Buddha just hitting the pen, getting so high and being like, I'm the king, boy, the whole time. You got Harry and Mason going around G-checking people. We're in the deep desert and they're flying up to every ship and going, yo, who's this? Who's this? Who this? Oh, man, it's been so fun. It's been so fun, man. I love it. Yeah, dive check. I just want more friends to actually get into MMOs together because I love playing MMOs, but I really don't want to do it, especially not on stream if I'm not with a group who's going to get in VC and play together, you know? I'm not streaming it otherwise, but having that experience is nice. It's nice. Cypress Desert Adventures. Everyone's like, don't log into NoPixel. If I see you on there without asking first, you're dead. You're G-kicked. It's perfect. Oh, it's perfect. It's been good. It's been good. If we see anyone open a game on Steam that isn't Dune, we all start messaging them. We're like, what you doing? Huh? You think you can just play shit? Get to collecting, all right? We need water. We need spice. We start pressing him. Oh, it's so funny. So fucking funny. Buddha's peeking his mic last time killed me. Dude, the mic peeking, but then he was trying to get his mic to stop peeking, so he started speaking calmly on purpose, and I was crying. He was like, guys, they're coming from the west. You just couldn't hear, it was cutting out, so he started going, guys, they're coming from the west, and I need you to... It's just... Oh, I was dying. I was dying, man. Yeah, he was ASMR whispering. He's pressing Nova for logging into GTA. I mean, some people have things that they gotta do. Like, I'll probably have to get on there and, like, make rifles, pass them off to somebody. I logged in to send, like, 2 texts out to let people know, like, hey, I'm not around because of this. Like, I'm in the desert, right? And I checked my texts, and I had several people being like, I miss you. Where are you? Where'd you go? Is everything okay? Because I'm never gone. I'm never gone, you know? So I thought it was just funny. And I was like, I'm in Arrakis. Ball Pit Devolver Games Peak tried the demo of 5 hours and it looks so good, Joel. I have it on the list. The moment I saw it, I was like, this is I always call it Brick Break because that's a legally distinct name. The other one. GG Tech to that Spice Boy. I want to ask if we can make an RP item. If we can make spice. I'm gonna start selling spice, but it's gonna be paprika in a bag. I'm just gonna cut a little weed into it and in game and see what happens. Maybe I'll go back in there, I'll do Dune RP and I'll buy like bags of coke off of Michael Simone in game and sell it in the desert. Sell that Spice Boy. Maybe, we'll see. We'll see. In game, of course. In game. Obviously. Obviously. Set up shop in Sandy. I've been planning to do some shit to like revive things up there too, so it's perfectly timed. G Fuel G subs have a big Dune sponsor for spice subs. Oh, that would be such a good flavor, the spice. Oh my god. I'm writing it down. writing it down. You fuck with cinnamon. I do too. I know it's a bit hit or miss for people as far as it being in drinks. It's more of like just a dessert thing for a lot of people, but I love cinnamon. I like cinnamon in savory food a lot too. But I think that's more of like that's like a Mediterranean North African thing. I don't really see people using cinnamon in a lot of non-desserts, but I love it personally. It just adds a flavor. I love so much. I do cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice, that kind of stuff all the time. So good. So fucking good. Yeah, Indian food too. Yeah, cinnamon curry, absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. So I'll write it down. I don't know if a drink flavor with cinnamon in it would go that well if it's not sweet, like super sweet, but see what we can do, man. Cinnamon tea. It could be really nice, like just a little bit. So obviously not overpowering, right? But melon melange. Oh, melon melange would be so good. The spice melange, the spice melange. Go apple and cinnamon. Ooh. Yeah, it's like a fall thing. I like that. You don't fuck with cinnamon candy? Cinnamon sugar, cinnamon savory dishes, but not fucking cinnamon bears. Yeah, I don't like it in candy either. I like, yeah, I like it in desserts, but not in candy. Shai-Hulud spice and have a sexy cosplay, the Vortworm. Ooh, new VTuber idea. New VTuber just dropped. You know, everyone's like, they pick like an animal or a thing, and they're like, I'm the blank VTuber. I'm a bunny horse. I'm a bunny horse, you know, whatever the fuck. You'd be like, yeah, I'm a sandworm. Dude. I wish, something I really want to do is I want to do a lot more outfits with games. If I could have been in with Dune early on, I would have been like, let me get a still suit outfit. Let me do it. I would have fucking done it. You know, get like the cape, the hood, all the tattered clothing. You guys know a lot of like all my jackets and things. I always have like tattered, ripped stuff. It could be so good, man. It could be so fucking good. Shai-Hulud, yeah. Haven't heard much about outside. No Pixely's so fucking funny. I know. He's a character. He's a character. Just change your model eyes to blue. I'd probably do a toggle. I wouldn't like change them permanently. Because then you get fucky with the brand. Whenever you want to change something and you change an entire color of a thing and you can't toggle it back to normal, you fuck with the brand and people start to not recognize you because they are like, I don't know why people's brains do this sometimes, but if your hair color changes, they're like, I don't know who that is. Who the fuck is that? Whenever you're a drawn character. They're always like, I don't know, their hair's blue, who the fuck's this, even if everything else is the same. So yeah, stuff like that's always a toggle. Always. Without drinking the filtered piss, that'd be the deal breaker for me. Dude, it's filtered, so it's just water. You're not... You can't think of it as drinking filtered piss. You gotta think of it as drinking water, and all the stuff that would make it piss is not in it. So who cares, man? You know, who cares? Yeah, Iron Man does it. Don't you want to be like Iron Man? Don't you? Don't you? A toggle of the models do a line of spice. I don't know that they do lines of spice. It's more like they reach over a bowl and they like waft it like it's a beautiful perfume. I don't know that they do a bump off the edge of their finger or anything. Like I don't think they do it like that. Space Skill does kinda. Yeah, you get your model with like one long pinky nail. Perfect. Of course. Navigator model would go hard. You're not wrong. I always wanted to do one that was kind of like aviation themed. I don't know what I would call it. It could be like a spacefaring thing. It could be I don't know, like Last Exile, like airships. It could be just straight up a normal pilot. I don't know. But I always wanted to do something in that type of theming, something feeling like aviation and navigation as the vague theme. I always wanted that. Ooh, air pirate. Ooh. But I always like that aesthetically. The little cap with the goggles. I want the cap with the goggles as a toggle. I want that. I want that. I think that's something I really miss. Have you probably a rare experience, but have any of you ever sat in and flown in a biplane? I've done that and I've had to wear the goggles several times. That shit is a great experience, horrifying but great. And I think about like those goggles and the cap you wear when you do that, and I'm like, I want that. I want that, like the old-timey thingy. Nope. I did a thing several times where I got to be in different biplanes and stuff, and one time I got to be in one, and during an event, I was usually sitting navigator for events because I'm smaller, so it's easy for me to like fit stuff in the seat with me. So what we would do is we would have like confetti and shit and fly low and then like throw it down at people, because in a biplane you're not protected, so you don't actually really go that high. You don't go like to crazy high altitudes because you're not in a closed cabin. So when you would do like events relating to historical stuff, relating to like all these different things, you sometimes use a biplane just to show off the old aircraft. And then on top of that, we would often like throw stuff. This might be a little morbid, but sometimes you'd simulate like the little bomb drops, but like in a celebratory way, and you'd drop like, yeah, like confetti and things. So I've done that several times. I would usually sit navigator for it because we could fit more stuff in the seat because I didn't take up that much room. And I didn't weigh a ton, so, you know, it was easy to, like, put a bunch in there with me, and we would throw the quote-unquote bombs out. And, there was this one dude who I went into a biplane with, and he was piloting, and he was very old, and he was a Vietnam War vet. Oh my god, this dude... we were, like, sitting there doing our pre-flight checklist, and then we were just sitting there waiting on the runway. And, you know, it's not our time to take off yet. He was just telling me stories, and he's like, he's telling me about like, he's like, not proud of it. I threw so much napalm. And he's like, he was just talking about it, not in a proud way, not in a, ooh, the good old days way, just like very realistic about it. But he's like, I used to sit in these and do this and that. And I was like, oh, all right. Genuinely fascinating to hear someone talk about who's just sitting there and was like, yeah, I used to do this shit. Because like that, he flew one of those for so many hours, you know, in the war and everything. But like, I was just like, oh, cool. Wow. It's fascinating, but, you know, very, he was very desensitized. And obviously he was definitely not proud of it, you know, but like, it was interesting is how I'll describe it. They mentioned what plane they flew out of interest. He mentioned a few different models. I don't remember what exactly he spent like the most time in or anything. And he usually wouldn't say exactly the model every time. He would like slap it and be like, oh yeah, one like this, but it had more of this thing on it. He would be more descriptive. More stories always trip to your first hand? Mm-hmm. Always, always, always. He was great though. He was great. Your old neighbors of war vet, they're so desensitized. They used to talk about stacking bodies like they were bricks. Yeah, you do get desensitized. The reason why a lot of things are shocking to you as a human is because you just haven't seen it yet. You haven't been exposed to it yet, but, you know, it's just a thing that happens. I won't say it's good or bad or anything. It's just a thing that happens when you get exposed to something, good or bad or anything, a lot. You get desensitized, right? So, that's just part of it. It is part of it. Hi, Neutrin. It's a coping mechanism for some. Oh, for sure, for sure. Especially, like, it's like the same thing when you have a medical issue and you're able to just talk about it, because you just kind of make yourself talk about it in a normal way, and eventually it just, like, doesn't bother you anymore, right? Because you just normalize being able to talk about it. Some people use humor to cope with certain things or whatever, you know, like, that's just how it is, man. But it's cool when people get to that point because then they can talk about this stuff and make it obvious that it was a reality. It wasn't some fantastical story. It was just like, yep, we did this and we did that. Right? It's interesting. Very, very interesting. Dandra, thank you for gifting Nutra sub. By the way, thank you. Your grandpa fought in the Korean War and took photos, but only one of our uncles allowed to see him. Yeah, that war was real bad. It was real bad. I will say a lot of the stuff that North Korea says that the U.S. did not happen. They make up crazy stories. Regardless, that war was really bad, really awful. And it was less chemical warfare than some other ones. It was more just straight up like just bombing shit. But they like razed the whole country to the ground, essentially. Both sides fighting back and forth. Yeah, carpet bombing, all that. So yeah, I don't blame anyone who's a vet from that time, like having photos but not like showing everyone the photos, you know? Because sometimes you take it to preserve history, but it doesn't mean that you want everyone to just look at it all the time, you know? For sure. For sure. Whereas where not many people really understand what that means. Yeah, I've spent so much time around a lot of war vets, a lot of people who were in military, etc. And I've heard so many stories, and I'm very close to a lot of people that were in a lot of different wars back in the day. And yeah, I've just heard so much. I've heard so much, and there are also plenty of people that don't want to talk about it. But if you talk about like related topics, sometimes they'll tangentialize on it.
Greetings, fair general.
Thanks for the
I hope
bits.
you have been doing well.
Mm-hmm.
You already know what I must say.
Golden Corral.
Another glorious day without the Golden Corral.
That's right.
It's been a
That's
good year.
right.
They actually closed down my hometown corral, so I thought it was you smiting the evil out of my life.
All me, all me.
Thanks, shout out to the fellow vets.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I always spent a lot of time with a lot of friends that were war vets or are war vets, for those that are still around. And yeah, I always did a lot with them. A lot. And I feel like there's a lot to learn from them, because like a lot of those people kind of don't talk about these things to their families because they want that to be like a place that's away from that stuff, you know? But if you catch them and you're just a random person who's just interested in these things and might be able to talk about some related stuff, maybe you know something about ships and about naval anything, right? You know something about aviation, then you can kind of be able to talk to them more about it because they're seeing that you're taking a genuine interest. You're not just morbidly curious, right? So you get to hear a lot of really interesting stuff. The vets you knew would all use humor to cope. Quite a lot of them do. I had one family friend that he always just seemed like one step away from just like going full hermit and no one ever seeing or hearing him ever again. He always seemed like he was like that. So we basically took him into the family. We just brought him to everything. You know? And it's nice. It's nice to be able to do that. And it was one of those things where I don't think he could have done it with his own family because, like, they knew too much about what had gone on with him. And he felt like he couldn't escape it because it was, like, the way they had learned about a lot of things was through other people, not all just him talking about it. Whereas what we knew was what he chose to tell us. And it was probably a much more, like, comfortable situation for him. So we just brought him into anything. So, yeah, I really enjoy people in those sorts of situations being able to like talk to them. Your grandpa drove the landing boats in the Pacific. He said he'd drop live ones off and pick up those who weren't lucky later on. Yeah, yep. Absolutely. I knew a lot. I actually knew.
Since we are on the topic, it's
Yeah.
been 10 years to the day I've been out of the army.
Yeah, you're a vet
I
as
have
well.
a Vietnam vet mentor.
Ooh.
And a few friends that were in mortuary affairs.
Uh-huh.
Talk about graveyard humor.
No, it's true though. It's true. Like the morbid humor man goes crazy. If you spend time with vets, goes crazy. I think it's really good. I think everyone should have to talk to people and socialize with people that have been through these things. I feel like it changes people in a good way, in a really good way. I don't know. It'd be good. I knew a few people that were vets that were specifically in the Coast Guard. That there were some scenarios where they didn't have enough troops. They took some people from the Coast Guard and just sent them out, just deployed them out as if they were with the Navy. And the thing is, they weren't trained the same way. They weren't meant to do the same things. They weren't used to doing drills that were the same things. So I knew a few people where their story was basically that they got like sent out as their own little unit with like no direction. No direction. Just shipped out, like, go here. These are the people who will be in charge of you. Talk to them. And, obviously they kept the people who were Coast Guard together in their own little units so that they were working with people that at least, like, have the same communication style. But I knew a couple guys that were together during the war, and a lot of what they did was recon. And using, like, the most advanced stuff they had at the time with radar and all that to try and, like, just listen out and catch people out, to try and find people that maybe were trying to look for help. They were doing a lot of like grabbing bodies and bringing people back that weren't lucky and all that kind of stuff. And it sounded like it was just like one of the worst positions to be in, because they wanted to help but didn't know how, and there was a lot that they couldn't really do too well. And the people that have to like search for people and they have to try and remain hopeful by sending out constant radio signals, whatever. I feel like doing that day in and out is like really tough. Really, really tough. As a history buff, they didn't know what they were doing in Count of Victories by body count in Vietnam. Yeah, and then a lot of the ones that were like Coast Guard and just thrown over there, the ones that I knew personally, they said they basically like found work for themselves to do, because they weren't being put out there to just go fight the same way some others were, because they weren't really ever meant to do that. So instead they did a lot of like the cleanup and searching for people, like, Sarex, right? You just have an area and you canvas it in a certain way to look for people. It was rough. It was rough. Yours went to the Dutch Indies on a peace mission, allegedly. Okay. Your grandpa always had anything to do with Vietnam. If he finds some of his old gear in boxes, he immediately wants it thrown away or gone. Yeah. I know some people that like want nothing to do with it, to the point where they won't even go and talk to other vets. Like, people will suggest, and they'll be like, oh, you should go to this hall, go to the VA and talk to the guys there. You can get along with them. And they're like, no. And they just want it like gone, completely gone. So there's people feel very differently about it. I also know people that are like super proud to be a vet, and they're like, they feel like they want to be proud and carry it on, because if they don't, then they feel like those who were lost during those times, like, what did they do it for? You know what I mean? So there are people that cope with it so differently. I think it just depends on the person. But yeah, a lot of the older vets, I find that like it's very hit or miss with that. They're usually on one end of the spectrum, either don't want to talk about it at all, or they feel like it's like their duty to carry it on and talk about it, right? But very, very interesting to talk to both sides of it. Really interesting to talk to a lot of them. A lot of like people who've been role models in my life have been older vets. Grandpa served in the Korean War, but never once in your life did he ever talk about it. Yeah. Like I said, Korean War was really bad. Really, really, really bad for everyone involved. So that's when I think you'll find fewer of them around nowadays. Like you won't meet many Korean War vets, but I feel like a lot of them just wouldn't talk about it more than a lot of the Vietnam vets that I knew, at least. That's how I felt. More ordnance was dropped on Korea than all of World War II combined. That's what I was saying when I said like the country was razed to the ground. Like, genuinely, they just blew up like every inch of everything. It was insane. Your uncle was sent out for the Korean War, but stationed in Japan. He could never go back to Japan. Yeah, a lot of folks were stationed there at the time. A lot. Absolutely. Ooh, Khmer Rouge War? Oh, man. Yeah. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. You like visiting war museums when they have vets who volunteer and just enjoy telling their personal stories from their time in the wars? Yeah. A lot. Every type, not just war museums, but if you go to like a naval museum, an aviation museum, those ones that like part of it's about wartime related stuff, part of it's just about like this was invented by this person, whatever. You'll find a lot of vets just walking around and talking about these things. It's really interesting. Really, really nice. Oh yeah, visiting the VFW is so awkward for you, imposter syndrome for sure. It's very different, and I will say, from what I've seen, you don't always get the older vets treating them like little pup, little bro too much. But yeah, it's totally different. I will say, a lot of younger vets still equally as traumatized, but it's just a different type of trauma. I will say, I think it's probably worse, in my opinion, for a lot of the Korean Vietnam War vets. I think it's worse. I think you have some people, modern war vets, that have it just as bad. Some, but way fewer people end up seeing those kinds of things or doing certain things. There's a lot more protocol too nowadays on how to do things without it turning into a horrific atrocity. It's very different than it used to be. Very different. Thank God. Thank God. Just now realized I know absolutely nothing about the Korean War. I don't think it's taught well in American schools. I realize this because that's like one of my most favorite topics because I love talking about Cold War era stuff. And obviously, the Cold War era, a lot of older conflicts built up into that. But in my opinion, the Korean War was like the most pivotal. The most pivotal. But it was just over a specific region, so it's not recognized the same way. But I felt the Korean War was the most interesting. It just wasn't covered for you. Yeah, a lot of you saying it's glossed over. And I hate it because, well, okay, one of the reasons why I think it's glossed over is because it wasn't much of a resounding victory. There wasn't a lot that the US got that was good out of it, and the US also did a bit of wrong, I felt, in it. Then again, it was like matching the wrong from the other side, but still, I'm a two wrong so make a right kind of person. But it's one of the main conflicts that kicked off like so many of the things that would become points of contention in the Cold War. And it had a lot of really interesting tech being created coming out of it. So I think the Korean War is super interesting to study, but yeah, I feel like they like don't talk about it enough in American schools. They focus heavily on the Vietnam War, and I think that's because it's easy to look at that one and make it a bit more black and white, whereas the Korean War is like, it's more complex to talk about. It's a lot more complex to talk about. And then you have to go into what happened to North Korea. You have to go into a lot of stuff relating to Russia that they don't talk about as much, and China that they don't talk about as much, especially at the time. So it's just, I don't know. They focus more on like the leaders of the time. It's weird. They avoid the details because of how gruesome it can get. Yeah, it's real bad. It's real bad. It was terrible. Yep. Hard to tie into other pieces of knowledge. I think the Vietnam War is more covered just because with the Korean War, the US went in there, did shit, and then left. Is how it felt. Obviously, the US still kept a lot of troops stationed out there. Even today, South Korea's military is very much formed in a way that mirrors the US military. A lot of that was trained up by US military. There's still people stationed there that are US military. Like that's never changed since then. But it felt very much like it happened, and people left. And that's it. Whereas Vietnam, it was a bit messier with the impact it had on the US and on countries around it, I felt. I don't know. Both were terrible, though. Both were awful, in all honesty. Dogfights, the plane show on History Channel made you really interested in air combat, especially in Korea when the jet age began. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A lot of the tech, a lot of the engineering at the time of the Korean War, it was this big transition from World War II era stuff into the stuff that would then be used in the Vietnam War. So there was a lot of advancements and changes made at that time. A lot of that stuff was fresh and new during that war, and that makes it super interesting. That's when a lot of the innovation happened, and it continued. It continued from there, but it's really cool to read about, man. It's cool to learn about. Only thing your high school taught was the part where MacArthur wanted to turn the China-Korea border into radioactive cobalt. Yeah. I mean, it's really interesting to study what some of the plans were. That basically they were kind of at a loss of what to do because North Korea was like not losing. They were not losing because they had so much Soviet backing. And it was really, really tough. And there were multiple times they pushed well over the line in both directions. Both sides were going back and forth. And, you know, ended up in the middle at the parallel. They just ended up in the middle, you know, where the current DMZ is. And it was it was bad. And especially learning about the North side, I think it's such an interesting case study for people to sit there and learn about Kim Il-sung and what he did. He was the guy that stepped up kind of as a war general for the North. And he was the one who went and he was getting real chummy with leaders in China and then in Russia to get aid and to get troops in there and to be like, hey, we're with you, you know, and joining forces. He put in the work. But it's also really funny to study him because at the same time he was kind of a poser. And like everything he did, he tried to be like Stalin so bad. And like Lenin, that kind of like type of leader. He wanted to be like them so bad. And like studying the stuff he did at the time and seeing how sometimes he would copy things just because, you know, it's really interesting to study him because he was a weird guy. Yeah, China pouring over suddenly helped North Korea. Yeah, he put in a lot of work to try and get them to come over, and he was talking about like strategically why they needed to do that. Oh, it'll keep you closer to Japan. You need this land so you can then go after Japan. You need it. Because they wanted to maintain control of what was going on in Japan. They felt Japan kind of pulling away and becoming more independent from them, etc. So he kind of used that as leverage. It's just cool to read about like how those talks went, especially. What are good sources to read about this? I, off the top of my head, don't know. But I would just look it up, start reading. There are a lot of... I think one of the things that makes it really hard to study is a lot of the stuff that's said about the North is stuff that the North themselves said, which is almost all lies. So what's really, really interesting to read about is to read these excerpts where they talk about, okay, here's what Kim Il-sung said happened, and then they're like, here's what actually happened, with all of the, you know, sources showing that. And it gives you a really good look and idea of like why North Korea is what it is, because it's such a weird case study. It's such a unique scenario for the country. Like there are no countries that are the way that country is, where like everyone's brainwashed. It's crazy if you get into it and you dig into it. But if you learn about the stuff from that time and the way Kim Il-sung was and the way he like fed propaganda to his people, really, really interesting. And there's nothing like it in the world. There's just absolutely nothing like it in the world, especially not in modern times, but like ever. So that's why I'm so interested in it, because it's such a unique scenario to this day, the way things work over there. So yeah, I recommend it if you like history at all. Cold War era stuff is the most fun, but I find the beginning of it and focusing on the Korean War is really, really interesting. So when you were in Korea, they called us the speed bump for preventing North Korea from invading, but we had A-10s. Yeah. Yeah, it's super interesting though, man. I would look up a lot of videos and things if you like documentaries. There are a lot of documentaries on the Korean War. I think a lot are made specifically because people recognize it's not really that well covered in U.S. classrooms. So there are a lot of people who have taken huge interest in making documentaries about it on purpose. Biggest barrier to understanding Cold War history is having a good understanding of imperialism, class conflict, and capital. Yeah, that's why it is cool to read about, because it starts to really blend together more. A lot of old wars, obviously there's more to it, but the accounts you can read about them, like ancient wars, it seems like it's about ego and it's just about land. I want to control an area, I'm going to control this area. But then you get to a lot of this later stuff, especially post World War II, and now there are all these really complex global organizations that start up, or that start just doing more. Maybe they existed before. You got like the UN and all the stuff they started doing. There's so much that started changing and developing with the world globalizing, and that's where it gets really deeply, weirdly complex. And that's why I love studying that stuff, man. It's just cool. North Korea has the largest active fleet of early Cold War era jets. They're still using a lot of old stuff, and a lot of the tech that they have is really bad. Some of it actually works though. So I just want to say, I hate when people are like, what's North Korea gonna do? They can't do shit. Everything, they're all phonies. Everything they have is old. They couldn't hurt us. Actually though, they have some crazy shit, and they actually could pop off if they wanted to. They just don't, because it's very... You ever play Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker? Right? How they go into the whole plot point of mutually assured destruction. Right? It's like Peace Walker, okay? So the North is kind of... There's a lot of shit that they could do, but if they do, their small country will then also get destroyed. So that's, mutually assured destruction is the only thing really keeping them from doing shit. Guys, they yes, they're right near Seoul, and they could just, at any point, bomb the fuck out of it. They have other places in range. They have stuff that's a lot longer range than people love to admit. Like, a lot of folks are like, I bet they don't. They do. They do, and it's bad, okay? It's bad. Some of the stuff they have is exaggerated, but yeah, they can hit California. They can. And I don't care. I don't care. People have made up. There's a lot of genuinely fake news about it. People saying that, like, they can't actually do this. They can't actually do that. The people who truly know what they're talking about and look at these things and look at what they have confirm that they can do that shit. Okay? They can. So I just want to, like, clear that up real quick while we're on the topic. They can actually do crazy shit, man. You've seen the waveform data from their nuke test? Those are some big old bombs. Staying out of California, can't reach me. Yeah. They were launching weapon tests that went over Japan a couple months ago. Yeah, because they've been trying to test long-range stuff. Because like, kind of, the only thing they have is weaponry. They don't have resources. They've stripped their country of everything. It's this kind of arid northern climate. So North Korea is close to Russia, right? It borders Russia and parts of China. It's very cold for a lot of the year. They don't really have a lot of arable land. They have a really hard time farming. Yeah, lots of water pollution, etc. So a lot of the difficulty for them is they just don't have anything. They can't even make enough of their own food for their own people. They require aid from other countries. But the one thing they do have is some weaponry. So what they do is they do everything they can to barter for more stuff so they can keep researching, keep getting their weaponry being better and better, more and more destructive. Let's try and increase the range so we can hit more people, so we have more people to threaten, so we can maybe get more aid sent to us. That's literally, that's like their whole tactic at this point. That's all they got. That's all they got. They have no non-military exports in one of the worst agricultural situations in the world. They actually do have non-military exports. They just don't say it's from there so that countries don't refuse it. But when you get a shirt that says made in Korea, you get like a clothing item that says made in Korea, there's actually a fairly good chance that that was made in the North And then what they do is they ship it to China or Russia, or they ship it somewhere that will just allow the stickers say made in Korea, and they try to like kind of pretend and misdirect to make you think it might have been South Korea. But there's actually a good amount of export that is from there. It's just not counted like that because they're hiding it. Because if they wrote made in North Korea, a lot of companies would not buy it. They would like fully just not do that. So yeah, there actually is that. But it's it's workforce. So they don't make the clothing themselves because they have the resources to make the clothing. They get things sent in, fabrics and things, and then they just do the production. They just have factories and people. So they just do the work and then ship it back out. But yeah. Yeah, it's dirt cheap labor, ultra cheap. And any money that's made by those people is just for the country, you know, it's not really going to those people very much. Although the economy is not as it was. People do actually make their own money a bit now. It's weird, but markets exist now. Yeah, they make a lot of wigs. It's true. Here, while we're talking about such a morbid topic, it's my favorite topic, but while we're touching on the morbid topic here. Keep your eyes on the puppet. Okay. Now, how does that make you feel? How does that make you feel? Anyway, North Korea does make a lot of wigs. How does that make you feel, kids? It's me, your puppet therapist. Just want to do a check-in while we're talking about morbid subjects. Make sure everybody's okay. You know, how's everybody feeling? This is a wellness check-in. You're overwhelmed. Very, very serious topics, guys, okay? Very serious topics. All right? I understand it's very serious. You're never okay? Well, get a damn therapist. Go get one. Okay? You should. You're sad and gay. That makes two of us. That makes two of us. How to break down therapy on Monday. Good for the week. Let's go! Let's go. Rather learn about the rest of the world than your own country? True, true. I wanna like sit around, we watch like a crazy documentary in North Korea or something. We do like a history day. But the thing is, I keep having issues when I watch stuff on stream or when I post it to the VODs channel. The channels that own those videos try to strike me. That channel where we were watching some guy just walk around New York, and then I was just sitting there talking over it the whole time. That guy tried to claim the content. He really was upset. I'm hyperbolizing. He just pressed a button. But yeah, he tried to strike down the VOD. So that's why if you see me like unpublish stuff or remove like react segments from a VOD, it's because of that. You're trying to watch that VOD? Yeah. I had to remove it. I mean, you did grill him about checking out girls? I did. I did the whole time because he kept pointing his camera at the girls, man. He did. I know. I think it was deserved. So anyway, if I watch videos on stream and then you don't see those segments on the VOD channel, that is why. You're looking at Pyongyang on Google Maps, and the most striking thing to you is the existence of roads but lack of parking. Oh, yeah. Because they don't, very few people own cars in North Korea. If you see a picture taken in Pyongyang and there are a bunch of cars on the road, it was 100% a demonstration. There are more cars on the roads than there used to be, but it's more so just a couple of packed buses that they use for public transport. And the roads are pretty empty. It's just military transports and things, but most people walk everywhere or use bicycles. And you can find endless videos of crossing guards sitting there doing their whole fucking routine for no cars. There's one channel that I really like. There's a guy who lives in North Korea. And he is a diplomat. He's like there and he lives at the embassy. And I want to say he's a diplomat for like Singapore or Thailand or like something that like Southeast Asian or Oceania or something like that. And he posts videos of himself just going around existing in North Korea. Yeah, there's a Swedish diplomat. There's a few people that do live there that are doing their thing. This puppet loved history, loved geography. Yep. Their roads are fucking empty. Absolutely empty. So there's no parking anywhere because you could just drive somewhere and then just like pull up your car to the rightmost lane. And then there you go. You done did it. You parked. You parked. You don't need parking because it's just there are no cars on the road. Said North Korea still owes Volvo for 1,000 cars, quote unquote, sold to them in the 70s, but North Korea never paid for them. Yeah. Oh, the guy's Indo. That's right. That's right. Yeah, sounds right to me. Sounds correct. Sounds correct. You said, isn't it a bit of a military disadvantage to have a population which isn't widely trained in driving motorized vehicles from a strategic POV? They show everyone how to do it. So when you join the North Korean military, so every man joins the military. And they're all there for like 12 years. All of the men, every man gets drafted and spends like 12 years in the military. Every single one. Unless you're like a diplomat's kid or you're a high government official's kid. There's some that get out of it, but not many. Even then, they get into it and then they just have a cushier job. So you join and they do teach you, they let everyone drive a vehicle around briefly. They just show you how to use it. And then they don't have you use it after that because they don't want to waste gas because they don't have fuel. And then you learn how to shoot a gun. But they don't have you do too much of that because they don't want to waste too many bullets. So they just have you act like you're shooting a lot of the time. And then they spend a lot of time bayoneting stuff. They spend a lot of time with these really old rifles. Like a lot of their equipment is old. It's still from the Cold War and prior. It's still from the Korean War, even some of it. And they have you like bayonet dummies a bunch that made out of straw and grass. And that's it. That's it, man. Bayonets are still being used on a lot of their weapons. They still have them. Yeah.
I love these class outfits.
Mm.
We have General, Warlock, Inquisitor, Monster Hunter, and Therapist GEEGA.
That's right. That's right. It's to keep the vibes up. It's to keep the vibes up. Ukraine's made it clear North Korean shells have nearly 50% failure rate. That's more often than misfires or premature detonations. Yeah. Yeah, it's so poorly made or it's not maintained. But some things work and they have some crazy shit that like will sometimes work, so you can't treat them lightly because what if you're the target of something that does actually function? You know, 50% chance to get blown up is still a 50% chance. So you know what I mean? So like even though it's like laughable, you have to take it seriously because it's a non-zero chance that it works. Know what I mean? It's crazy. After 12 years, they must be experts at that though. How many 10K work hours is that? But they spend a lot of their time just like patrolling stuff and honestly, they make them build things. You basically just become like labor, free labor. They feed you the basics. They feed you just enough to live. And then they're like, make bricks out of mud and make some huts and shit. Like, it's just stupid work. It's stupid work. It's crazy. The Dutch army also had to shout bang when shooting due to underfunding. Oh, man. Oh, man. Yeah, North Korea is not in a good state. Not at all. There's some really interesting stuff. Let me see. So, show some pictures because I keep getting DMCA'd for every single video I watch. One of my favorite things is so if you travel to North Korea, they do have some tourism. You can travel there. Don't. I'm gonna say this right now. Don't do it. No matter how curious you are, no matter how smart you think you are, no matter what position you're in, don't do it. Especially if you're an American. Do not. Anyway, you can travel there. And you can go on like tours. It's like a guided vacation. Like they show you what they want you to see, and they try to get you to bring back stories to be like, oh my god, the country's so cool, or whatever. What a lot of people try to do is they try to find ways to get pictures that they don't want out. And people do crazy stuff to do this. And some of the photos are like not even that crazy, but they just don't want you to see anything that's like not exactly what they presented to you, right? So I'm gonna look through, but they're always interesting ones. Really, really interesting ones. Like I know there was one photo I had seen of a guy, he was using an ox to do some field labor because they don't have machinery. All of their labor in the field is done by people by hand or with oxen, like it's medieval times. And there was an officer trying to get this dude to like delete the photo. So what he did was he had a function on his camera that like basically put it in the trash bin, and he like renamed the trash bin and changed the icon of it so the guy wouldn't like find it. It looked like a thing in settings. So he didn't see that the file wasn't actually deleted, right? And he was able to like sneak these photos out. But that's my favorite trend, is like looking at the photos people were able to sneak out that they were trying to get them to delete. A lot of it is these photos of just people looking homeless. That's it. Like, it's just people looking homeless, and they either are homeless or they just look rough, and they don't want that. Also, fun fact, did you know that you can defect from North Korea by just paying $8,000? The problem is that that's a crazy amount of money, and no one will ever make that in North Korea because of their inability to make money in the first place. And then in general, like, you just your money is just gonna go to the government half the time anyway. Let me see if I can find a cool photo. Oh, did you know they also claim to have 100% literacy rate? Did you know that? Hold on. I'm looking for a good one. I want to find a nice forbidden photo. Ooh, here's one of their subway, which only the elite in Pyongyang get to take. But it's so like time capsule-y, right? When you look at what they have, look at this. First of all, you're lucky that that one light is on. Their lights typically don't even work because they don't have electricity in most places working all the time. The lights will just randomly go off because they just run out of electricity. But you see these people, look, what they're wearing looks kind of old-timey. The design of the train car looks very, very, very old-timey. Yeah, these people are really well off in the country. These people that you see here. Looks 50s. Yeah, North Korea kind of froze at that time. Like the 50s, 60s happened, and then like everything just kind of stayed like that. Like the fashion, the buildings are, it's a lot of brutalist architecture and stuff. It's interesting. So they look depressed. They are not trained to, or they're actually trained to not smile at the cameras and things like that. They're trained to just look normal and just stone face. Also, don't say the "oh, they're dead inside" thing. People always be like, "oh, they're dead inside, oh, they're suffering, blah, blah." These people think that they have it good. A lot of them are actually quite happy. A lot of people that defect say they want to go back because they felt like while they didn't have as much materially, they felt that they were emotionally happier there. So do not look at pictures of people in North Korea and be like, oh, they're all suffering. It's more so that they don't have a culture of like smiling for the camera. So they're just like in the sun or like in a hot, sweaty car of the subway and just be like, and you would look miserable too. All right. But as far as like the people go, many of them are quite happy. They're not tortured every day because they don't know what is going on in the outside world. And I find that that's something that is very like, people don't realize it, but it's not good. It's not right by those people to look at every photo of them and be like, oh, they must be so unhappy because they're in a dream, and you know that dream for them is happy a lot of the time. It doesn't mean that they don't have regrets or that they don't have things that they wish they had, or they don't see something from the outside world and go, oh, what's that about? But you know, they're just living their lives. I think the ones that are super unhappy are the ones who are obviously like starving, the ones who are in the middle of starving. But even then, a lot of them feel rich in family and, you know, things like that. And these are things that you can hear if you talk to defectors, or you hear stories from defectors. I think the most common ones you'll see in here are the people who sensationalize the suffering, which is very real and should be talked about. But there are also a lot of defectors that are like, yeah, I like it here better. Obviously, this is better, but here were the good things, you know, and they talk about it. So, just saying, there's a lot of fallacy in what people say about, like, how the people there feel. Sounds like what happens with people who leave cults. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. A lot of them just, they don't know what they don't know. Yeah, there are a lot of pictures of, like, I won't show all of them. There are a lot of pictures of, like, kids going and gathering water. You'll see like a 7-year-old kid with like a basket holding it filled with water and like walking across a dirt road and stuff. Those are the kinds of pictures that they like do not want you to take out anywhere. Or ooh, here's a picture that they didn't want shown. It's a Korean soldier. Remember I said everyone goes into the military? All the guys go into the military? This is the kind of work they do. Random ass tasks. Carry this wood over here. Chop this tree down. Stuff like that. Stuff like that. Right? It's just menial work. So like you go into the military and that's what you do. Or it's one of my favorite ones. I've seen this one before. A home in a rural area where they're using the bathroom as a cistern. This should give you an idea of the poverty out there. And like how they try to make it look like it's not that poor. They have nice tiling done because this is like a show house. This is in a rural area, and they'll bring you into it if you're a traveler and be like, look, here's how our rural people live. And you'll see like a tile floor instead of a compacted mud brick one, and you know, all this kind of stuff. But then you look in the bathroom and you're like, is that a cistern? You know, like you see stuff like that and you're like, hey, wait a minute. Hold on now. So stuff like that is very interesting. Ooh, here's a favorite. They had this person posing in front of a computer to show that they have computers to use. but the computer isn't on. There's no power to it. She's just posing to show off that she can type. And they're like, look, our people can type. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? But then she's just pretending, man. She's just pretending. That's a good one. Ooh, here's another picture that they don't like people seeing. They hate this one. Dude's picking grass. Why do you think he's picking grass? It's to eat it. Yeah. Because people just eat grass. They just do. They just do. They don't have food, so they just eat grass a lot of the time, you know? Yeah, grass soup, man. It's terrible. It's terrible. Smoke it. They actually smoke a lot. If you want to make money, if you're a North Korean and you want to make money, if you can get into like illegally purchasing cigarettes off of somebody and reselling them, that's one of the ways you can do it. So people will sell like candy, cigarettes, all sorts of things. They'll often get it smuggled over the border from China and then sell it in their markets. That's one of the like #1 ways that people kind of make their own money, which is kind of rare to have any opportunity to do that. Smoking is chronic in North Korea, think coffee drinking US. Yeah. Exactly. I don't know. I think overall you should just watch documentaries that show off footage from Korea. And a lot of it, what you're going to see is going to be what the tour guides told people they could see and what they specifically tried to show them. So it's not the most realistic, but they'll often show little scraps, little moments of footage that they were able to get out that wasn't noticed, that, you know, they were like, oh, I was told to not film this thing. So you'll see like 5-10 seconds of something they were told not to film before they turned off the camera. And you learn a lot of interesting stuff that way. Ooh, one of my favorites is this, the bus line. So remember I said like no one has cars and everyone walks? A lot of people don't even have bicycles. Look at this. All the people trying to get in just a couple of buses. And sometimes people will wait for hours waiting for the buses to come back and then do their route again. And this line continues. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. It's almost as packed as a bus line in your campus. So curious, how's the hygiene and medical situation? Oh, okay. So I've seen some stories from like people who worked as volunteer doctors out there and then came back and talked about the medical situation. You don't really get to go to a hospital unless you have some money, which most people don't. There are hospitals in each area, so something to note is there are these different provinces, think like states, right? So you have the whole country, and then it's broken up into the little provinces. You're not allowed to travel between them at all. at all. So if you are someone of high status and you want to travel to another one, you want to leave the one you're normally in, you can try to apply. And they have a thing that looks like a little like passport. You get a little pass that lets you go to the other area for a certain number of days, and then you have to come back, and if you don't, they find you. Yeah, normal citizens are basically serfs. Yes, that's pretty much it. In each of those regions, they will have a hospital. And if you can get to it, if you have any way, because remember, they don't have cars. They do not. If you have a way to get to it and something dire is happening, you might be able to be helped there. But typically, you can't even get there. So that's just, I mean, you're screwed. If you are trying to go there and or trying to go to another area for medical care and you do have money, you can get treatment, but a lot of the treatment's bad because they don't really have good equipment. So some of the doctors really do actually know what they're doing, but they just don't have the stuff that they need to treat these people. So they're just stuck. And that is just, you know, so the healthcare is kind of non-existent overall. For the most part. They do have a lot of people making do. They do have like local people that take on the roles of being doctors, but it's not great. It's not great at all. Some Australian YouTubers had a very political channel on, and they went to North Korea to get a haircut and talk about the guided tour. Yeah, you can do things like that. Like you can travel there. I would say if you're a U.S. citizen, do not do it. The hatred that they hold for the country, there's so much propaganda starting from the Korean War and all the way to now that basically tells a story of the Korean War, saying that the Americans were evil, came in, tried to kill everyone. They say stuff like they were eating babies, like, and then they paint murals propagandizing this idea that U.S. soldiers specifically, and they'll paint USA on the helmet and stuff, everything, that they were like killing women and children and all this. And they treat Americans like we skinned their parents in front of them. They literally tell stories that happened. They literally tell stories that happened. They have textbooks that teach that. So if you're a U.S. citizen, don't go, because people don't like you by default. The dichotomy between the BGM of this topic. I know. Wait, that didn't happen? Oh. There are some things that were terrible that happened, but there were not American soldiers walking around being like, I'm gonna eat this damn baby. Yes, even if you're a dual citizen, don't do it. I think no one should go at all. Personally. Where you go? I don't think anyone should go, no matter where they're from. I don't think you should give them money and support them with tourism so that they can keep doing the shit they do, personally. But, you know. They can also detain you for no reason, which is scary. Yeah, and it's happened. They've detained random people, and random people have disappeared and just died there when they were just there to travel because they didn't like something they did. So, don't do it. Don't do it. But yeah, so just don't go there. Any good books around North Korean history? You need to learn from articles and stuff. I studied it. I did some courses and things, so I remember having a lot of textbooks. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head the names. I have to go look and see if I still have. I think I might still have some. You're gonna have to just look it up. You're gonna have to look it up. I can't really help you there because I feel like I read a lot, and I cannot think off the top of my head which ones were good. I think if you just want to learn about it and you're not looking to like hard study it, just watch documentaries. That's all. Just watch documentaries. There are a lot of really good ones. He said, if I'm born from South Korean parents but live in a different country, could I do it? It's not about could. Don't even ask the question. Don't think about it, is what I'm saying. Like, don't fucking go. Okay, you got it? That's all. That's all, man. It's not worth it. Not only is it not worth it, we already know what their deal is. We already know what their deal is. You're not seeing anything that you couldn't just see in someone else's video of their guided tour because they're going to show you the same shit. They're not going to show you anything different because they want to show you the same shit. So you're not going to get a different experience from the people who just went there and made documentaries on it anyway. Journalists are the only people that have maybe a little more leeway to go and do a little more, and they have already made their documentaries on it. So that's genuinely the best way to look at, like, if you want to see modern looks of it, that's, you traveling there, you're not going to get anything different out of it. That's all, you know? Asterisk, welcome on in. I've got the puppet out because we were talking about morbid topics that are really interesting. We're on North Korea right now. And I'm trying to tell everyone to not fucking visit, because you actually can, but it's not good. It's not good. You can literally get held as a hostage for food and money. Yeah. You can look it up. There are endless stories of bad things happening to people while they go travel there. So, don't do it. Don't do it. But do watch documentaries. They're so cool. They're so cool, some of the stuff they show. You remember a comic by a French animator who used to work along those cheap North Korean animation studios that everyone uses, and he kept trying to give them a copy of 1984 and Animal Farm. Yeah, there are some people from the country that get sent out of the country to study elsewhere. And when you ask where they're from, they'll just say Korea. They don't specify North, like, ever. But there are some of them that, you know, they befriend someone in this college they're studying at in Europe or whatever, and they kind of do become friendly enough. They're a little young, they're a little stupid, they trust a friend, and then they do tell them, oh, I'm from the North. And there are some folks who've then, like, tried to help them, tried to unbrainwash them in a way, but usually it just results in them getting angry or being fearful and being like, I gotta go. And they just kind of clam up. They turtle up, you know, like, it's just done. Oh, yeah, that's true. They kidnapped a dozen Japanese people and only later admitted to it in 2002. There's still people missing. There are people that went missing a long time ago, and, like, all local accounts are like, there are ships that came from the north to Japan to the coast and kidnapped people, and then we never saw so-and-so ever again. It was more than that, but, like, those specific ones were the ones that they admitted to. But there's still people that are, like, declared missing. There are a couple of them that actually did, like, settle there. I don't know why they kidnapped them, but they ended up, like, fully settling there. And there are some of them that a couple people have, like, gotten pictures, like 1 or 2 photos to show that this person's alive still, and they're like, oh my god, it's someone's sister from 50 years ago, you know, that sort of thing. For the most part, they've gone full missing, and they never were able to see proof if they lived over there or not, or what happened. But yeah, there are some that have actually, like, found modern photos of them, which is crazy. And it's like such a dangerous thing for them to try and get someone on the inside to find this person and get a photo out to them. Like, that's such an undertaking. So that's why it's so rare that you know, that they get proof that that person's alive. But yeah, there are a lot of people that were just kidnapped. A lot of women just kidnapped off the Japanese coast to North Korea. And I still don't know what that's about. I assume they just, like, were finding wives for people. I think that's literally what it seemed to be from the couple of stories where they were able to, like, find them in modern times and figure out something out about their situation. I think they just didn't have enough women or something, like, from what it seems, but we only know that that's the case for, like, 2 cases. So I don't know. Yeah, nothing good for sure. Well, I think it's the case because there are also there were a lot of women that even today from North Korea get shipped to China, to men in China, to be wives, to be their wives. And that's one of the ways that North Korea makes money. Which is horrible, awful. But that's one of their, you know, markets is literally selling people, which is crazy. And that's why some people were suspecting maybe that's why they were kidnapping women from the Japanese coast, was to like replenish the ranks. I don't know. But that's really all people could think when they were trying to like figure out like why would they do this. They were like, oh my god, that must be it, because that's how they make their money, is labor, right? Like I said, they import fabric and then make shirts and then export it back, and they just use the workforce, they use the people, and that's what they've got their money from. So that's one of those things where I'm like, that's probably it. but it's an assumption, right? It's a deduction, not something that like they've hard confirmed. So they even kidnapped some women in Europe so they could marry Western defectors and create Caucasian sleeper agents. Crazy. Yeah, I've heard some insane shit. Ugh, absolutely insane shit. Yep. Said a condition of North Korea extending more diplomatic ties is not bringing up the kidnapping anymore. Yeah. Yeah, because they try to... I'm laughing, but it's so stupid. Like, they try to create diplomatic ties with countries, and yeah, that's literally one of the things, is a lot of those countries refuse to let go of the fact that they're like, hey, maybe we'll send a diplomat over and accept one of yours, but only if you talk about and admit to these kidnapping things. And like that's a surefire way for them to not fuck with you. they just go, okay, never mind. So stupid. So stupid. The puppet eases the harshness of the topic. Yeah, that's why she's in front and center, man. It's about people trying to Russia's laborers to regime-based their wages. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. It's what's crazy too is when the Korean War happened and then ended, quote unquote, never really ended, but it reached a ceasefire. The North was up good and the South was down bad in comparison. The South had crazy poverty issues, huge amounts of people, being affected by famine and all this. And the North was up good in comparison. They had industry, right? They were part of the war machine. They made sure that they put factories in there to become a production house for a lot of stuff used in, a lot of subsequent wars. So they were doing all right. And it completely flipped because the North never bounced back or changed from that. And only like a fifth, like 20% of the land in North Korea can be farmed on. It's mostly just rocky mountains with like no moisture. So they really can't produce their own food very well. And when it was one unified Korea, they would call it the breadbasket of Korea was the South. So they just couldn't do shit. And all they got was some money from wartime stuff, and that was it. So 10, 15 years after the war, it flips because the South is connected with the rest of the world, especially through U.S. aid. And they get to build up. And this is why a lot of South Korean cities are so cool or have a lot of like really interesting modernized stuff going on, is because they built up their cities in like the 80s. That's when their kind of technology boom happened. They started producing, like you have Samsung and LG coming out and becoming a powerhouse. So they have really modern cities because they were built recently. That's when their population boomed. That's when, a lot of stuff changed. So it's crazy how they completely flipped with each other. Completely. It's insane. Saw that timeline of South Korea bouncing back in a video by an architect from South Korea? Yeah. The blank slate. Yeah, no, we talked about that earlier. They got carpet bombed until they were nothing but rocks and dirt in most areas. And that's awful. However, it created that unique scenario of, in modern times, them just going through and being able to just build things as they wanted, right? Think of that juxtaposed with something like a European city that was never really planned out properly. It's just kind of been there always and grows from whatever it's got currently, and that's it. It's very different having, in the 80s, someone come through looking at all the cities in the world and going, you know what, we should do this instead. And in modern times, they just kind of build things as they think it should be. It's not perfect, but you end up with a lot of really interesting parts of the city and the way they're planned. Do you have any hope of North Korea slowly becoming less dystopian throughout the next 50 or 70 years? I really hope so. It's just something, yeah, I really hope so. It depends on a few things. We won't get too deep into it because we don't discuss certain things too heavily on this channel, but it depends on what goes on with China and Russia. And it depends on North Korea's relationship with them. And if they, TLDR, if they remain homies and those countries keep sending aid to them, North Korea will probably stay the way it is. Just always having missiles and guns pointed out at the world, demanding aid, and that's it. If those countries decide, nah, fuck those guys, because North Korea steps in a way they don't like or slips up, or they just, you know, those countries lose some sort of power or something, or like cannot send them aid anymore, etc., then I think shit will collapse. Shit will collapse and they will have to change. So it just depends on what happens with that. I don't think the ball is in North Korea's court. I think the ball is in those other countries' court, their allies, and what happens with them or their relationship with them. That's really it. I'm not one of those people who wishes for a reunification of both North and South Korea because it's so messy. I think I just wish for the North to, like, be its own thing and do better and be better. Hashtag do better, hashtag be better. I just kind of wish for that. You know, and then maybe after they do that, something could change with, you know, between the two of them, but a kind of sudden reunification would destroy the South. So it's not really gonna be good. So I don't wish for like a sudden reunification. The mountains in the north, mineral poor or something. They used to have a lot of resources, but they stripped a lot of that and sold it. One of the ways they kept making money right after the war was stripping everything out, mining everything, selling that off to China/Russia, or using it in their own production of weaponry or whatever it is, and then sending those things out. Even building supplies and materials, bricks of certain kinds, making those out of their own rock and then sending it north. That was what they did. So a lot of that stuff has been stripped. There's still certain resources that they have a lot of, but it's not as useful, and they're not the only source of it. So they don't really have anything that's like uniquely found there. So, you know, if a country goes, I don't want to buy iron from you, they could just get iron from someone else, you know. So it's kind of tough. It's kind of tough. Russia and China did modernize since, so I hope they can do the same. We'll see. We'll see. They have to change a lot of their ideas of what they think the world should be like, the country should be like. You said North Korea was not well off after the war. A lot of their infrastructure was completely destroyed by U.S. bombing. Air Force generals attest to this. I'm comparing to the South. Both were bombed to all shit. We already talked about this. I don't know if you just clicked in recently. They both were bombed to shit. However, the North was heavily supported by their allies in immediately rebuilding and getting factories and production going. Because while their cities were destroyed, they needed help and they were willing to work. So their allies essentially used them and were like, okay, we'll build factories out there. A lot of it was actually subsidized by the USSR, right? So they paid to send materials out and to get factories built in North Korea to then make stuff for them for their own war efforts. So sort of like they invested into the country. So they put up the money to get these factories built, and then they have a deal with those factories in North Korea that they will work for them for dirt fucking cheap. And there's just no way for them to recover from that. They're just kind of like always indebted to them. It's a not good situation for North Korea. But that's why they were able to be kind of up good at first on monies, because they had methods of production that were immediately given to them. So they did all right. So when I'm saying they were up good, I mean more so like up to the 60s and everything. Like not like immediately after the war, because everyone was bombed and, you know, it was shit. It was shit. Yeah, didn't they used to have a lot of iron until they sold it all? Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, they kind of sold off a lot of their stuff. And it's not the biggest country physically, so it didn't really take much for them to get rid of a lot of their resources. And now they're just kind of stuck. And like I said, they don't have any resources in the north that are unique to them, that are so unique that like you can't get it elsewhere, so people are running to them to get it. A lot of the stuff that is more rare, like someone just mentioned, yeah, it's in like Africa for that type of mining. So no one really needs the north, and that's why they're in such a tough position. And that's why, again, they just have like guns and missiles and things pointed outward at everyone, and they're basically like, give me aid or I'll do it. That's like a lot of their strategy has boiled down to that in more recent years, because they don't really have anything to offer. The only thing they do have to offer besides that is like I said, factories and production. So they send out labor to China, and that's it. North Korea have like the biggest deposits of rare metals that they can't even harvest. No, it's exaggerated. They have some, but it's exaggerated. And yes, a lot of it they can't even harvest, so it doesn't matter. But a lot of that, people believe it is exaggerated by them to make themselves look better to foreign entities. So some of that you hear is like their own propaganda about themselves. You know, China's buying up parts of Africa for us, so they won't need North Korea as much. Yeah, it's crazy in modern times, especially the eastern coast of Africa. Huge Chinese populations settling there. And a lot of land and buildings and things being built and being owned over there. A lot of production, a lot of mining, a lot of that stuff over there. They ship a lot of their garbage. China's been shipping a lot of garbage. You know, China always like bought up a lot of garbage from other countries and processed it and did things with the stuff that they got from it. Now what they do is a lot of that gets exported straight out to Africa instead. It's like stop number 2. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Yep, Belt and Road, exactly. Exactly. And it's funny because if you just go on like Google Maps and look up Chinese restaurants in Africa, you'll find like a lot in these little pockets, these little enclaves. You can just do your own research like that and like find where people are settling or where they have a lot of influence. It's interesting, man. Yeah, the French were having a little clash over it. It's true. It's true. It's true. I figured it would happen eventually. I was like, someone's gonna start doing this. Someone's gonna be like, I want labor. I'm just gonna go get it there, and you know, it's just a matter of time. I felt. When Sweden was buying Norway's garbage and Norway was buying IKEA products, they were both buying each other's trash. Oh my god. Oh my god. So did you know we tried to build a road/highway from Alaska all the way to South America, but it was way too difficult once we got to the Darien Gap? Yeah. There's a lot of cool projects like that, but I just don't know why. I understand building a road between Alaska and mainland US, things like that. And then from there you take other roadways to get through. But like, why do you need it to be one road? It's just one of those things where I'm like, I only think it matters if it were instead like a train line. Right? That's the stuff that makes more sense. Ambition. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. I don't care about that. I don't know. An American highway would have been nuts for trade. Yeah, I think they should do trains instead. Personally. You want the US to make bullet trains? Don't get me started on rail in the US. Me too, man. Me too. It's air travel is, you know, terrible for the earth, whatever, but overall we'd be able to do so much more by just doing shit with high-speed trains. I think planes are easier to privatize. It's easier to have a private aviation company versus something related to shipping and freight on rail. Because rail requires you to like go to someone and go, this land of yours, actually, I'm putting a train through it, thanks. And then you have to do that for every inch of ground between the two spots you're trying to connect. And it becomes so difficult to make that happen. And then when private companies try to get involved in that, you know, it gets really difficult. Yeah, and it's a lot of material to build it. So it's a lot more accessible to just have air travel be the thing, but I don't know. We at least have cars. There are these kind of long haul bus companies and things that exist, but they can't go faster than a certain speed. Trains mentioned. People love trains. They love them. But I don't know. Personally, okay, hot take, I think people should travel less. I think traveling's cool. But someone's like, when someone goes, traveling's my hobby and I want to travel to 1,000 countries, I'm like, God, you're buying so many plane tickets, stop. I think it's a hot take. I get that people want to go places and do things, but just like enjoy the area you live in, man. And if you don't like it, move somewhere. I don't know. I'm a little too, I don't know. I think it's okay to travel somewhat, but you know, there are people that travel like, and I've done this before, having to travel a lot for work, having to take a plane every week for work. Why can't you just do a damn phone call sometimes? You know how many times I would travel somewhere for work and I would be like, I don't have to physically be here. What a waste of money and resources. It would make me mad. And I just would feel like I was contributing to something that I didn't like, you know? And then like, it's fun to travel a little bit, but it's just not worth all that cost. And I don't just mean money cost, I just mean everything, you know? So I would just feel like, you know, we should just do all this shit remotely. Like, we have so many great tools for this. Yeah, this plane could have been an email. Exactly. Not just an email, but just getting on a call. Like, we could have done one yearly meeting so we get FaceTime with each other at the beginning of the project, and then just done all calls after that. That sort of thing. There's no point. Being there's the point. It's stupid and it doesn't matter. It's archaic. It doesn't matter. Meeting once is important. Meeting every week is not. So, I don't know. I think people need to just do less of that. Do less. And I'm a fan of more rail, more trains and things for people to be able to be carried around to different places instead of air travel. And then, you know, hey, you live on the East Coast? Stop going to LA for vacation. Stop it. Stop going to Vegas for vacation. Take the trains up and down the Eastern Seaboard. And there's so much shit to do. So many places to go that are so incredibly different from each other. You have so much around you. People be like, I gotta get out. I gotta go to another country. But then there's so much cool shit that they can do within an hour of themselves. And I'm not saying they shouldn't do those other things sometimes, but like, I don't know. Pisses me off. You know, people I know from New York City that have never gone to like Westchester and north to like upstate New York, which is only like within a few hours travel by car. 1 hour driving north. And you can get to areas that are like mountainous, beautiful. You go in the fall and you see all the leaves changing, different foods and things to eat. It's not upstate, but it's starting to get there. But you can get a lot of that experience, great spots to camp and hike and all these things. Rivers, gorgeous, okay? Fucking gorgeous. Also, when I say New York City, I mean like from the border, like from the Bronx border up, not like Manhattan. But, you know, you get up there and it's a completely different experience. And there's so many touristy things you can do if you want. You know? Upstate is expensive as is. I'm not saying for them to live there. I'm saying that for them to travel, they would inject their money into those areas too. But it's all gorgeous. And I know so many people from New York City, they're like, I just want to get out. I just want to see nature. And they're like, I have to go to the Pyrenees. And I'm like, no, you don't. Get in a car, rent a car, drive north, and you'll find the shit you're looking for right there. Right there. Okay? Right there. I don't know, man. You don't have to go to the tropics to go on islands. The Great Lakes have islands as well you can visit. Yeah, I understand maybe wanting something that's like wildly different climate, different flora, fauna occasionally. But like you don't gotta go crazy for that. Also, people will be like, I have to go to the Bahamas, and I'll be like, girl, just drive to the Hamptons. Just take a train to the Hamptons. Not all of it's as expensive as people say. That's only the rich people parts. Go to the fucking beach. There are tons of places where you can sip a martini, get a massage, sit on the sand. You can do all the same stuff there. It will still be hot and humid as fuck in the summer, okay? It gets up to 100. But the sun's a little less direct, which is healthier for you because you're farther from the equator. Win-win. And then if you want, you could just go home. Dude, you just go home. Like, I'll never understand people in New York City, like, traveling so far away for everything. I get occasionally, but when they do it, like, constantly, I'm like, what's the point, man? What's the point? Oh, you enjoyed talking about it so much. Thank you for rigging it. You did so well. It came out exactly as I wanted. It did, it did. Oh, I need to contact you for something else, maybe, potentially. DM me first if I don't DM you. I had an idea for a thing that I wanted. The thing about Bahamas is that everything's 78 degrees. Nights, days, the rain, the seawater. It's kind of like that in the summer near New York, though. Maybe the water's slightly colder, but it's hot out, so you really don't mind it. It's really not that different. I'm just saying. So don't go to Cape Cod, you wouldn't like it. Everyone's like, I just want to go to Cape Cod because they see pictures of it. And then they go there and they're like, I'm bored. Yeah, because you don't like this kind of vacation, man. I don't know. What about traveling to see friends and family? That's a different thing. That's a different thing. I'm talking about the people doing the unnecessary shit. I'm not talking about like all travel bad. I'm saying unnecessary travel is at an all-time high. And we can cut down. Know what I mean? No, you said you have no need to go to the islands because it's hot and the natives told you not to. Win-win. Yup. Exactly. Look, we got the hidden gem, okay? The Jersey Shore. You rent a car from New York City and you go drive downward. Drive through Staten Island, start driving down along the shore. Shit is incredible. I don't care if the show made it look stupid. I'm telling you, the place is really nice and incredible, beautiful during the summer. You can get anything you want there, any food. You can do any activity. Meet all sorts of people. Not everyone looks like Snooki. It's gorgeous. It's genuinely like the most gorgeous beaches too. So, you know, people really don't need to travel far for that. It's in gross New Jersey. Good. Keep saying that. Keep saying that. Keep people off the beach. Okay. So then when I want to rent a car and drive down with a couple friends, it won't be covered in people. That's great. That's great. All right? So you'll die for Snooki. We as a society were too harsh for to Snooki. They were too harsh to a lot of them. They were. Some of them were terrible people, but others were like fine. Yeah, like The Situation. Oh my god. The name The Situation is crazy. Mike The Situation. Absolutely nuts. New Jersey has some amazing mountain ranges and forest areas. Yeah. If you go to the upper parts, if you like west, you take 278 out and then go north from there. All of the stuff north of that, outside of like a couple of the really expensive towns, when you go beyond that and you're like at the border, gorgeous. Gorgeous. He said, you bet Delaware is the least traveled state in the country because there's practically nothing. I think a lot of elderly people started moving out to Delaware. I think that's all they got. I noticed they have a lot of, what do they call them? Active adult communities. Which is like a 55 plus community. You have to be 55 years of age or older to live there. So they'll have like okay priced houses and they're basically like retirement villages. Instead of you living in a retirement home where it's like a building with a bunch of apartment-like things, instead it's just a bunch of houses that people are going to live in and kind of it's people who want to retire but they don't want to go all the way to Florida. They want to be able to like drive up to their kids that live in New York or whatever. It's a lot of that. Yeah, and the tax haven, exactly. So I feel like that's all Delaware is now. It is, man. You said going from Columbus and traveling south through New Jersey, so nice. Yeah, there's so many nice like drives. Lucky, my cat's here. Lucky, you're here because you want to sit. You want to sit on me? Come here. Come on. Come on. He's making his way in. There we go. Yes. Yes. He's getting comfortable. West Texas has beautiful plains, mountains, and canyons, but everyone just sticks to Central because it's trees. Yeah, no, I think people don't look up what's near them. I think, you know, maybe I'm a bit spoiled because I've gotten to know a lot of areas all over like the tri-state area because I hiked a lot. Which meant like when you go looking for hiking trails, you end up stopping in all these little whatever towns, parking somewhere, going on a hike, coming back. You get to see all different slightly varied landscapes in the same kind of area. So you become really familiar with like what's out there. And because of this, I've been to so many little towns where I found like little cool things to do in them. So if a friend is like, I want to go see a play, but Broadway's so expensive, I'll be like, oh man, let me tell you about these tiny playhouses that are really good that I found in whatever bumfuck, you know. I'm like, you know, that stuff exists, but I wouldn't have found those things if I wasn't like, you know, going to these random areas because I was going hiking nearby or something. So but you know, we have Google Maps. You just got to research. But there's a lot out there that you can do that's really nice. Really, really nice. And even if you live in an area that's kind of bumfucky, if you have a car and you're willing to drive 30 minutes, I mean, there's a lot. So tiny towns always have the best food too. I disagree. I think the worst food I've eaten has always been from a small town, but sometimes they have a really good gem. That's like incredible. Yeah. Sometimes they do. But I've also, like, some of the worst places I've eaten have been in small towns because they don't really have restaurant competition. So when you're one of 3 things there are to eat, you're not going to close down. People will end up there eventually, you know? So that's the kind of stuff where it's like, it could be hit or miss. But yeah, some of the best stuff I've eaten was also in these tiny towns. For sure. For sure. Yeah, it's a gamble. It's a gamble. Your situation of coming from world food capital is unique. Okay, that too. I have the unique scenario of being a person that has always had the best food available if I wanted to, and the cheap shit being really good. So my opinion there is 100% skewed by that. 100%. So I mean, my opinion on everything, my opinion on transportation, my opinion on what makes the town good or bad, you know, it's all coming from this lens of literally New York City. So, you know, you know, always take anything I say with that behind it. He said one of the best New York City musicals you saw was in a theater for like 200 people. It was based off of National Enquirer's Bat Boy. What was it called? I remember someone mentioning something like that, but I never like knew what it was. That sounds good. I think everyone should go and see The Play That Goes Wrong. Let me see if there's anything on YouTube for it. Actually, I'll probably get struck for that. That goes wrong. Slime tutorial. Okay, there are like trailers you can watch of it. Yeah, if you can ever go and see a play, there's one that's just called The Play That Goes Wrong. The ads for it, or even it's the poster for it, just turned upside down, so it's always like spun the wrong way in like the playbills and stuff. The show is so fucking funny, and you don't even realize that the show started. You're just sitting there waiting for like the lights to dim and then for them to be like, welcome, make sure you turn off your phone, whatever. but they have like actors planted in the audience, and at some point someone's like phone goes off, and it's like a really embarrassing. They changed this up too. They changed it up, so it's not always the same. But when I saw it, they had like this really embarrassing ringtone, and then they had someone else's embarrassing ringtone. And then they were like doing a bit with each other, and it was really funny. And people thought it was just two people being funny, and then it turned out it was just that was the part of the show. That was like the intro. And it was really good. It was really good. But they've changed up the intro several times, so that way you don't get spoiled as much. But that one is really good. Really, really, really good. Use the Mischief Theater guys who did The Play Goes Wrong is great. They have a new one coming out called A Comedy About Spies. Yes. Yes. I need to go see more stuff. I gotta drag friends out. I need to go see more shit. What's the point of living here if I'm not going and seeing shit? I had at some point gone and seen Hamilton. I never had seen it in person, and I realized I don't really like Hamilton that much. And it made me kind of mad because, like, I remember listening to the soundtrack a while back and thinking that a couple of the songs were really good. A lot of it I wasn't that into. And I was like, it must be better as like a stage performance. And then I saw it and I felt like all of the actors were incredible. Everyone's acting, everyone's ability to create the scene was incredible. The set was beautiful. The music was well played. I just didn't like it. I didn't like the story. I didn't like the exact writing of the lines. It was so lackluster for me. But then you have all these people that are like hardcore Hamilton fans, and they like wear a Hamilton t-shirt and listen to the soundtrack in their car, and I'm like, what is going on? I think Lin-Manuel just kind of like appeals to people that are not me, is what I think it is. I'm just not that. Whatever that is, I'm not that, I guess. You're a hardcore fan? And there are a lot of you. There are a lot. But yeah, it wasn't for me. But again, like the actors were so good. They sounded incredible. Best character was the King of England. He was just the best. He was the best part of that whole fucking show. His Disney Pixar music is great, though. I think he does better in that setting. Yeah. I don't think like he's bad. It's just some of the stuff that he does is not my favorite. Is cringe for you as a history enthusiast? Yeah, that's the thing. Is like I really like a lot of like early American history. And I didn't love like the retelling of it in the form of a musical. I don't know, something about it. I was just like, eh. They had like bits of it that were like wrapped, and they weren't all good. And so I was like, I was not happy with that. You seen the Epic Saga? Yes, I have. Epic the musical. It's not my favorite, actually. I think a lot of it's good, but again, this is coming from someone that's seen like a billion musicals. I'm really into them, okay? Seeing as how I've seen a lot of other ones and heard a lot of other ones, there's so much more out there that's good. And I keep seeing people comment on those videos and be like, oh my god, this is so great, it has to be on Broadway. I don't think it'll ever be on Broadway unless it gets changed a lot. Because it's not, in my opinion, it's not good enough. It's really good for the type of project that it is. It's not good enough. It's not something that would translate well into a stage play the same way either. It has to be like heavily changed. I think it should stay as it is. That's what should happen. Only musicals you've ever liked were those ones from the 50s and 60s? I like a lot of the classics, yeah. I like a lot of Sondheim musicals and prior. There's a lot of stuff later that is still good. A lot of them I don't like. I don't love a lot of the Disney musicals. I feel like they're better as films. But there are a lot of modern ones that are really good. Book of Mormon is incredible. Book of Mormon is so good. Not just the comedy aspect, but the whole thing, which is great. Hadestown is one of my most favorites. I think it's one of the best ones, and it is a very modern one. It's written very recently. So there's stuff that's coming out that's great. The Lion King musical is great. I don't like it that much. I don't think it's bad at all. I think it's the best of them all. But I really like the OG Aladdin movie, so maybe I'm biased, but I just like the movie better. I was just like, hey, this is cool, but like the Disney movie is just better than this, So that's kind of how I felt, but I was comparing it. I still think The Lion King musical is better than some other stuff that I've seen on Broadway, for sure. Like, it's still a pretty good one. I don't like the other Disney musicals as much. You cried to the Encanto movie? A lot of people did. A lot of people did. A lot of you saying you love Epic. Please watch other musicals too, though. I don't want people to watch like 3 musicals and be like, these are the best ones. Or like the one they like the most out of 3 is the best one ever. You should watch. There's so many more out there, man. There's so many. I don't know. I just think everyone should see The Producers, though. That's like... Ooh, Fiddler on the Roof. Fiddler on the Roof is so... Ooh. I like Into the Woods, not the movie. The Broadway version. I like Fiddler on the Roof. You like Starlight Express? Not my favorite, but I don't dislike it. Oh, Hunchback of Notre Dame as a musical. I remember I played one dude's song where he pops off for chat from the Hunchback musical. Hunchback of Notre Dame is an incredible musical. I really loved that one. Actually, you know what? I'm going to say fuck the Lion King musical. I'm putting it second of all the Disney musicals. I'm putting that one first. It's so good. The music is so good. The story is also, it's less Disneyfied, because The Hunchback of Notre Dame is originally a novel. Okay? It's a whole thing. It's a whole story on its own. And it's just, it was adapted into a Disney thing, as many stories were for Disney, right? I find the musical does a good job of bringing back a lot of the elements that were in the OG that were a bit more morbid. So I really like it as a player, as a musical, rather than, you know, the Disney version, which makes it seem a lot nicer. You should actually, I don't know if you guys have you ever read the book, the original Hunchback of Notre Dame? I really like the book. I think some of the translations are kind of rough, but I like it. It's a very like tragic story, super tragic, but it's like so dramatic, which is perfect for a musical. It's so overly dramatic. So a lot of the music is like an actor like crying on stage and like dying and shit. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Read the book in the original French. Ah, yeah. Yeah, it's super sad. But it makes for great music. Makes for wonderful music. You're going to see Beetlejuice, Book of Mormon, and Addams Family this summer. Ooh, I haven't seen the Addams Family one yet. I want to see it. That's one that's good. You guys should see stage plays as well, not just musicals. Just straight up plays. A lot of them are so well done. So well done. And just watching the actors in person do what they're doing, it's crazy sometimes. Hunchback was during Disney's brief obsession with characters surfing on objects that aren't water. Yeah, well, I don't know why they kept doing that. But they were so obsessed. They were so obsessed, man. That was crazy. I feel like they go through, like every media production company goes through their little obsessions though, right? You seen Star Kid? Yeah, I've seen all the Star Kid stuff. I have. I hadn't seen all of them a while back, but then Haruka mentioned that she liked them, and I went through and I watched all the ones I hadn't seen yet. Need an art podcast with Peppo? I'm sure he knows more than I do about a lot of art history. I find certain stories really interesting, but I don't know that many. But hey, I'd be down. I'm always down for stuff like that. You love the Phantom sequel because it's so bad? Oh my god, I love it. Love Never Dies. The Phantom sequel is... I love it so much. It's, you know, sometimes you have something that is like, objectively, you know, it's really bad, but you just really like it anyway. Or you have like this morbid fascination with it. That's me with the Phantom of the Opera sequel. Now, a lot of people don't even know that there was a sequel because it was not that popular. I love Love Never Dies, dude. It's so bad. 10 years old. Yeah. Oh my god. It is a fanfic, so it's not canon. It's not canon. The idea is that the Phantom actually impregnated Christine. Like that one night that they had together, which in the musicals, in the first musical, it's not even implied that they had sexual relations necessarily. She just like kisses him on stage. And like, you know, when you do things like that on stage, sometimes you can imply things. It didn't even seem like it was implied. So this fanfic is like, what if he got her pregnant? And I love the setting. It happened in some adaptations, not others, is what I'm saying. It depends on which one you watched. So not all people have that in their brains that that was like canon, you know? But the setting of Love Never Dies was my favorite because they put it in spooky old New York, Coney Island. Okay, so you know, like the OG, like they would call it the freak show, the OG spooky circus. The idea is that the Phantom, so the first musical, the first story of the Phantom of the Opera is set in France. The idea is that after all that shit with Christine and she goes and runs off with Raoul and he doesn't get the girl, whatever, he's like, I'm a freak, ah! And he runs off to America, to the New World. And he shacks up in Coney Island and he's part of the freak show, like making the music for it and doing his thing again over there. And then Christine comes to the New World, as many people in France did. They would either travel or live there or whatever. She's just a person with money, so she ends up there to like perform. And he's like, my Christine. You know, he like sees her and once again is like crazy because he just cannot, like that's his muse. And it's once again round 2 of him being creepy. And the thing is, it's been 10 years, so she has a 10-year-old son. She has a 10-year-old son that he sees, and at some point, the kid's like, I love music. People think my music is weird. And he's like, that's just like me. It's just so, it's such a cringe story, but he's such like a pathetic guy. And I feel like that whole musical is about him just being so pathetic. So pathetic, man. And it's so cringe. And like so many people die. So many characters die. And like, it's so stupid. However, I gotta say, one of the reasons why I love the musical is because a lot of the music is really good and the performances are really good. And they usually have like an actual kid play that child and sing. And some of the children that they've had sing the part are insanely talented. It's crazy. It's crazy. Some of the best like young stage actors singing you'll ever hear. Nuts. Absolutely nuts. Madame Giry and Meg are part of the Coney Island attraction. Giry wants the Phantom to fall in love with Meg. Yeah, and oh my god, my favorite cast for it, there was the Australian cast. So they, you know, they have different casts depending on where these things are playing. They had a cast in Australia, and they had this one woman playing Meg that was so good. So damn good. And I just I don't know. You should watch it. I think if you that Australian cast did the 2012 film. So they did a stage production and they filmed the stage production. And the actress that they picked is one that I really like. I'll post it in the Discord for you guys. I'll put it in Geeking Out. She's so good, man. Anyway, I this musical is so hilariously bad with the plot, but I love like a lot of the stage performances from it, so I really like it. If you just take it as a bunch of disjointed performances and try to not pay attention to what's actually happening in the story and do your best to will it away and out of your mind, then I like it. Then I like it. It's just so bad. It's so bad. It's so stupid. It's literally fanfic. What if the Phantom actually got her pregnant and then 10 years later they both meet up in Coney Island and he owns the circus now and that's her boy that she brings over and it's actually his son. Oh, you like Devil Take the Hindmost? I really like a lot of the duets between Phantom and Christine because they come back to like that OG operatic sound that I really like. And they do the typical thing where you barely speak any words on stage, you sing almost all of them. So I liked the Australian cast because I think it was Anna O'Byrne, who played Christine, and she has like this beautiful tone when singing opera, so she was just good, man. She was just good. But man, it was so cringe. It was so cringe. I think you should all watch it though. That's why you don't like a ship, so you write your own ending. Yeah. Yep. I don't know, man. Sometimes there are just things that are so bad they're good. Or they have good elements and you just want to separate them from everything else, and that's me with that musical. Is Love Never Dies even playing anywhere? Or did it die? Okay, they have an official website. It is only playing in China. Oh no. There's only one run of the show right now. It's in China. I gotta say, in China, they love Phantom of the Opera. Phantom of the Opera has been adapted in so many countries. Korea loves it too. In Asia, they love the Phantom of the Opera. All of the versions that have gone and played over there have done super well. Super, super well. Oh, bye, Nucky. He's leaving me. See ya. Bye. He stopped. I said bye, now he's looking at me. No, you can go. Here's my other cat meowing. Here's Wolfie. Go. I'm not guilting you into staying, Nucky. You can it's fine. Door's open. Okay. Okay. Whatever, man. Whatever. Whatever. Anyway, go see musicals, go see plays. I'm gonna play games now. It's time for video games. I just wanted to demo a bunch of stuff today. We have quite a few things to demo. Should I change the game category per game I'm playing? Or do you think I should just put us in games and demos? What are we feeling? What are we feeling? Oh! My disembodied arm. Hold on. No, it should be smaller. There we go. Games and demos for less work? Oh, you're so right. Oh, you're so right. You've never been more right.